Hello everyone and welcome to Africa's Craziest, where we bring to you the good, the bad, and the outrageous insights about Africa. In today's video, we are looking at the top 10 poorest cities in Africa 2023. Before we get started, kindly click on the subscription button and notification bell to be notified each time we put up a new video. Also remember to like, comment, and share if you find the video interesting. There are poor people in every corner of the world, but the poorest cities in Africa are usually of special importance because being located in Africa, they are used as the standard for measuring abject poverty across the world. The poor cities in Africa are expected to be the poorest in the world, because African economies generally have a lot of catching up to do in order to compete with the rest of the world. One must be reminded that poverty is not just a question of not having money, it is all about not having the resources or the knowledge of how to use the resources at one's disposal to meet one's needs. Therefore, the situation is particularly hopeless when the people have little or no opportunities to turn around their fortunes. Let's dive into the list of the top 10 poorest cities in Africa. 10. Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. Ouagadougou, in Burkina Faso, is a place where a high number of people live in abject poverty. The city has a population of about 2,453,496, but unfortunately, most of them live in poverty. The main commercial activities in Ouagadougou are food processing and textiles, but this is not enough to provide employment for the teeming youth. The city has also had a notable rise in insecurity, which could further worsen the problem of poverty as it could drive away the industries that provide employment. 9. Kinshasa, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is one of the poorest countries in the world. Naturally, its main city Kinshasa also suffers from this problem of poverty, along with other problems that are usually associated with large cities. Kinshasa has a population of about 17 million people, but many of them are poor. Urban-rural migration has been cited as one of the chief reasons why there is so much poverty in the city. Many people come in from the rural areas in search of jobs. Unfortunately, the jobs are not always available, and so the migrants have to settle for odd jobs in the informal sector. There is no protection offered to those in the informal sector. They are often paid substandard wages and have no way of taking care of themselves when out of work. These are some of the challenges that make them so poor. 8. Niamey, Niger. Niamey is the capital of Niger. The country is poor and struggling with security issues which make it difficult to have any form of economic growth. The country thrived due to the volume of the mining industry, but that industry does not support the country with much employment. Agriculture, especially cereals and the production of animals, presents other opportunities for the country to bring its people out of poverty. The government is taking steps to open up the country via rail lines so that farm produce can move about quickly and efficiently, so as to help the poor farmers access better opportunities for trade. 7. Bamako, Mali. Bamako, in Mali, is also considered to be one of the poorest cities in the world, despite its great location for trade within the region. Bamako has a population that is put at a little over 1.3 million. It is a river port city. There is plenty of trade in meat, cereals, and metals, and then due to the presence of the tourists there is a thriving market for art and crafts. However, things are quite expensive in this city. It is very difficult for the poor to afford decent housing as well as other things that they need to live well. The government is already taking steps to build infrastructure that will directly affect the earning capacity of the people, thereby helping to reduce poverty. 6. Brazzaville, Congo. Brazzaville, in Congo, is one of Africa's poorest cities. As with much of sub-Saharan Africa, Congo-Brazzaville has been rocked by a long and bloody war that grounded the nation's progress and even destroyed the available infrastructure. With a population of about 1.8 million people, there is plenty of potential for the local economy to grow. A good number of the city's population is engaged in the service sector, and they can be assimilated into the main economy. Congo makes a good amount of its GDP through oil, but it does not directly employ so many people. The government can move to build the informal sector by creating regulations to ensure that people who work in these sectors can earn decent wages so that they can better take care of themselves. 5. Conakry, Guinea. Conakry is the capital city of Guinea. It has a population of about 1.6 million people, a good number of whom live in very poor conditions. Perhaps, the biggest problem facing Guinea has been the society not being very steady. Politically, the country has not been able to have a very good electoral system whereby one administration continues with the developmental plans of its predecessor. Aside from the violent history, the country has not had very good leadership that prioritizes the provision of infrastructure so as to help the people meet their needs. Conakry has potential as the administrative hub of the country. The services sector can be a source of employment, especially for the teeming young population. However, this potential has not been harnessed, which is why there is so much poverty and unemployment in the land. 4. N'Djamena, Chad. N'Djamena, a city in Chad, is by all considerations a poor one. It is the capital and largest city of Chad and has a population of about 1,093,492 inhabitants. N'Djamena is a port city with lots of trade going on in it. However, the wealth has not been able to trickle down. Much of the population lives in poverty. Chad has about 15 million people living in poverty, and a major reason is that there are not many opportunities for employment. N'Djamena is a regional market for livestock, salt, dates, and grains. Meat, fish, and cotton processing are important industries, but they usually pay substandard wages, making it difficult for the local population to afford decent accommodation and other necessities of life. 3. Gitega, Burundi. Gitega, in the country of Burundi, in East Africa. Gitega has a population of 135,467 people, a good number of whom live in poverty. Burundi is already ranked as one of the poorest countries in the world, and most of the population is said to live on less than $2 per day. GDP per capita numbers also put Burundi as one of the poorest countries in the world by gross domestic product. The few infrastructural investments in the city have to cater to such a large number of people, particularly because many young people come into Gitega on a daily basis, in search of jobs. Gitega has a large informal sector, but these petty traders and market women are not afforded any protection by the government. Much work needs to be done to assimilate them into the main economy so that they can have an improved standard of life. 2. Nairobi, Kenya. Nairobi, in the East African country of Kenya, is one of the poorest cities on earth because it has probably the biggest population of slum dwellers in the world. Kibera and Mathare jointly have a population of 1.2 million inhabitants. But that is not the full picture. There are several other slums in the city, some of them with a population of over 200,000 people. Things in the slums of Nairobi are so bad that some of the inhabitants live on refuse dumps with no access to sewage, clean water, or electricity. Most of the structures are made of wood and are not at all durable. Some of them are prone to infestation from all manner of pests, and the slum dwellers suffer from all manner of illnesses, including HIV, malaria, and those caused by unsanitary conditions. Nairobi, particularly the slums, is plagued by criminality and vices of all kinds, including drug abuse, rape, and petty theft. There is plenty of gang-related activity in the city, and this makes it unsafe for investments that can reduce poverty. 1. Khartoum, Sudan. Khartoum in Sudan is a city with a population of 5,274,321, and 26% of that figure live in poverty. This is an ancient city with plenty of history, but the city has been faced with many societal issues over the years, most recently by a long and bloody war. The war almost completely destroyed the country, resulting in both a capital flight and a brain drain as people who could afford to flee the violence took all their possessions and left, thus leaving the city without investments necessary to stimulate economic growth. There is plenty of opportunity for development in Khartoum. Oil is one of the key resources that the country relies upon for economic growth, and for the development of the service sector, which can provide employment. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and why not share it with your network. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video on some of the craziest things about Africa.